Welcome back to the review for the final, the first day on chapter 10 and 11. So this video is just going over two problems from chapter 11 on circles, and then the first part of tomorrow's will be going over the second part of chapter 11. For chapter 11, what we're focusing on for the final is circumference and area, being able to find the radius, circumference, area if you know the diameter, or being able to work backwards and find the radius and diameter if you already know the circumference or the area. And it's really important in this section, especially, that you follow the directions carefully for the homework on Schoology, because you do have to input things precisely. Same thing on the last section as well. If you don't enter it exactly how it's asked from you, then you will probably not get it correct. So circumference is the distance around a circle. So if we've got a circle, it's the length actually around a circle. And to find that, the circumference is, you can either use 2 pi r, or since the radius, there's 2 radii, make up 1 diameter. So you can do 2 pi r, or 2r is the same thing as a diameter. So it's just pi times diameter. Either of these two work. And the area of a circle is in units. Units for this would just be like meters or feet or yards, because it's one dimension, so it's a length. It's the length around a circle. Area is 2 dimensions, so it's all of the space that's taken up by the circle, how much is in there. So if you think about pizza, the circumference would just be like the very edge of the crust. The area would be the amount of pizza there actually is for that. So area is equal to pi times the radius squared. And units for area are squared because it's 2 dimensions. So that would be meters squared, or feet squared, yards squared. And again, on Schoology, you're going to see things. I kept it like this on here actually, just so that you're used to it when you see it on Schoology. But when you type in answers, you're going to keep things in terms of pi, and for that you just write out pi and you leave it right next to the number. And then for units, you're not expected to put units for any of your answers, but if you see on Schoology like meters and then meters squared, we use the caret button. This means squared on a computer, so meters and then this squared. So you'll see more of that in tomorrow's video. So this first problem says, given the diameter of a circle, so if we have a circle, the diameter, that's the distance across the circle through the center, the diameter is 4 feet. So if we know the diameter is 4 feet, the radius is just half of that, so that means the radius is 2 feet. So the radius, that's 2 feet. The circumference, we can either use 2 pi r or pi times diameter. So 2 pi r, that would be 2 times pi times r, the radius is 2, which is 4 pi, which makes sense because if we use pi times diameter, that would just be pi times 4. And that is feet squared, but again, you're not putting units in your answers on Schoology. And then area, we use pi times the radius squared, which is pi times, we found the radius is 2 squared. We only square this number, we're not squaring pi, so that's pi times 4, which is 4 pi. And I put feet squared here for circumference. That's not correct. It's just distance, it's just feet. These both come out to be 4 pi. This just happened because I used the number 4 for the diameter, and half of 4 is 2, but 2 squared is also 4. This does not normally happen. It is possible, but this is not going to happen most of the time. You'll normally get different values for circumference and area. And then number 2, we're given the circumference. So it says the circumference is 100 pi. And we need to work backwards to find the radius, the diameter, and the area. So the formula for circumference is 2 times pi times r, or pi times diameter. So we want to solve for r here. So we've got an equation, 100 pi equals 2 pi r. We can get rid of pi by dividing by pi on both sides. And then we want to get r by itself. So if you divide by 2, we get r equals 50. And our units are feet. So the radius here is 50 feet. The diameter is just 2 times the radius, so the diameter is 100 feet. And the area, pi r squared, if we tried to find the area from the beginning off of the circumference, it would not go over well. But since we found the radius from using the circumference formula, we can plug the radius into the area formula. So that's pi times the radius is 50 squared. 50 squared is 2,500, and that's times pi. And again, on Schoology, you're going to enter that as 2,500 pi. No space in there, keep it just like that. Up here, for inputting this on Schoology, it would be 4, and then pi, 4 pi, 4 pi. So radius is 50 feet, diameter is 100 feet, the area is 2,500 pi, that's feet squared. So again, this should get you through the first few problems on chapter 11 on the homework assessment for review day 1, and looking forward to teaching you, reviewing with you chapter 11 part 2 tomorrow.